we're going down there to watch the A's play because they're now in Sacramento.
Oh, sweet. Heck yeah.
So we're going down for an A's game essentially for the weekend.
How awesome is that?
It's gonna be excited. Have not experienced it yet, but be my first A's game ever.
Heck yeah. And have they improved at all since last week?
Let's see here. When we talk about playoffs, of course we're not talking about playoffs, but they're competitive, which is all you can ask for, right? They're they
All right.
actually they actually shockingly have a winning record right now. The record is 16 wins and 15 losses.
Wow. Huh.
One game above 500.
Feels like the first time in forever, right?
6-4 in the last 10 games. But this is the kicker. 2.5 games back in the division of Seattle. Only 2.5 games
Hmm.
back at 16 and 15.
That's not too bad.
Exactly. And we're only half a game back of second place.
Heck yeah.
The AL West right now is a cluster right now. It's the Angels are at 12 and 17 at 5.5 games back. They're at last place. And
Okay.
Texas is 2.5 games back at 16-15. We're 16-15 with 2.5 games back. 6-4 in our last 10. Yay.
Hmm.
And Houston's 2 games back. They're 16-15, so we're only a half game behind Houston for second place. And Seattle's winning at 18-15, 18-12. I mean, Seattle's
Heck yeah.
looking good this year, though. Seattle's looking good. I don't know if you've watched any Seattle games. They look good.
I haven't watched them much as I should. But the Red Sox
They won
played
four
that
in a row, and
was
they're 8-2 in their last 10. Seattle.
oh, holy crap. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. Whereas the Red Sox were ahead against the Blue Jays last night towards the end of the game, like 6-0.
Yeah.
And then we lost it in extra innings. So that's where we're at with the
Exactly.
Red Sox.
You know, before the season, everyone's like, there was one guy I was looking through TikTok and social media before the week. There was like one or two guys that were like, he's like, I'm betting on the A's to make the playoffs. I'm like, okay. And now I'm
I
like
was
looking at that. I'm like, I get I'm only one game above 500, but I'm 2.5 games back in the division.
now he's gotta get the tattoo on his arm, right? Or his chest, saying
Yeah,
the A's are gonna make it.
half a game back in the wild card because right now Houston and Boston have the last wild card spots. So we're
Oh,
half a
really?
game back of Houston, Boston in the last wild card spots. I get it, we're only 30 games in, but it's making me have hope, which I didn't think I would. I haven't had since the last playoff appearance, which was freshman year of our college. When we were in college, was their last playoff appearance. That's the last time I've had hope.
All right. So it's good that
And
there's
of course,
somewhat
it
of
happens
a
when they move to Sacramento and they're not in Oakland anymore.
there's somewhat of a heartbeat after the heartbreak of leaving Oakland.
I swear to God, if they win if they win any World Series in my lifetime, and it happens in Vegas, I, I don't want to say expletives on the podcast, but you can see where my head's
It's all
going.
right.
Well, fuck that.
Yeah, no, and of
You
course
wait
you're
till
talking
you
about
get
the
to
town.
Vegas to get good. You wait till you're in a bigger market to get good.
All right, everybody wants to
Fuck
go to
that
Vegas.
shit. No, this ain't good. Yeah, so that's been good. It's been cooking. Yeah,
Heck yeah.
it's been cooking. Red Sox are in the last wild card spot. So wild card right now looks at 30 games in is Red Sox have the last wild card spot, and A's are a half game behind the Red Sox for the last wild card spot. I get we're only 30 games in and we have 130 to go. It's a lot that can happen, but as I say, it brings people hope early in the year. Like you actually can do something.
All right.
You
That's
know,
what we need.
is hope. All I need is hope in May, and then once July comes around and August comes around, and September, and I'm like, okay, let's see if my hope from May 1st, because we're in May 1st now,
All right.
does my hope in May carry over to June, July, August, and right after All-Star break in July and August?
All right. And is
I,
that Billy Bean still involved with the A's at all? Do you know?
I think so. I think he's. He's doing something probably for him. I think he moved roles for them in the past couple of years.
Okay.
I think he's no longer like the head, I think he got like some senior advisor job instead of the manager job.
Gotcha.
So I think he's now an advisor. I don't know what his role is, but it's not the same role he had when Moneyball was around.
All right. So I've been getting a lot of replays of that on my feeds. It's the a lot of
Exactly.
Moneyball replays.
That's all the A's can do. Because as they say in the movie, right? There's the Yankees, there's the Dodgers up there. There's all the poor teams. There's 50 feet of crap, and then there's the Oakland Athletics, or now known as the Athletics,
All
because
right.
and the reason why there's 50 feet of crap is because ownership is a shit show. They are. I will go on topic. My mom's like, why do you have so much expletives for one organization? I'm like, do you understand who runs this organization? The worst owner in professional sports, and this I don't think this is an argument right now.
All
Like
right.
as we talk about just owners, bad owner.
I know, and that's what I was getting nervous too, because I know with the Celtics, they were up for sale for a while. Thankfully, they were
Yeah.
just bought, but uh, there were rumors going around. I think they were confirmed as true that the owner of the Red Sox, John Henry, was uh was potentially interested in buying the Celtics. Of
Yeah.
course, once that was announced, everybody was like, "No, don't do it. Stay the hell away." Just because obviously he's not really spending on the Red Sox, kind of like the A's a little bit last few years, but. And Johnny Boy decided not to spend, and now everybody's like, "Well, what if he does the same with the Celtics?" But again, thankfully that didn't happen.
Exactly. And so yeah, it's been good. Been watching baseball when I can, but I've been getting a lot into this all these NHL playoffs. Man,
Oh, true.
I love the NHL playoffs. That's like my favorite playoff sport. It has to be. Like if we talk about like playoffs in entirety, you know. Of course I
All
love
right.
why the World Series is higher, but like as like an event. But if we just talk about the entire playoffs entirely, and Super Bowl's probably higher, but if we're talking about the entire playoffs entirely, Stanley Cup playoffs is where it's at. The
Oh,
amount of
100%.
physicality, the amount of fights I've seen just in the span of 1 week between two teams in the first round are insane. And I'm all for it.
And that's what it should be, right? Like, um, I just saw like a TikTok not too long ago that there were I forget which teams it was. I think one of the teams was like the Capitals,
Yeah.
where the two guys kind of like shoving each other. And the ref pulled him aside and was like, "Bro, you gotta stop. Like, what are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, no, it's fine. Like, he's my friend. Like, he wanted me to shove him."
Yeah.
But even just kind of simple stuff like that, right? Where it's like I said, it's when you compare it to like the World Series or something, that's where it's the whole new level. Those guys just genuinely wanting to beat each other up.
Yeah.
But who are you rooting for?
What in the NHL playoffs?
Yeah.
I have no how. I just want to see good games. I honestly, that's who I'm really rooting for. Like, part of me is like thinking about like maybe cheering for um like the Leafs because they just have had, 3-1s, comebacks, and the poverty of what they've been doing, at home. Like, like how there's a whole there's a whole joke, right, of like them of their game 7 aspect, right? I think it's the least, right? They've gone through so many game 7s and they always lose in 7 games. They always lose game 7, right?
All
So it's like
right.
it's like that aspect. So when I have no horse in the race, right? Like I'll probably cheer for the Ru- Hurricanes probably because of all of my friends and people down in North Carolina and Raleigh. So I'll probably cheer for them. But outside the Raleigh Hurricanes, I'm like, that's probably gonna be the Maple Leafs because I just feel bad for that franchise.
They're supposed to be the hockey team, right? But they're not. Just said the Hurricanes just keep showing them up.
Yeah, well,
And of
yeah.
course, everybody
Well,
else.
it's not even just the Hurricanes. It's just about everybody, right? They just
All
can't win a game
right.
7. That's the whole running joke of their whole franchise is they can't win a game 7. Like, let me look at. I think they're up 3-2 in their series against Ottawa Senators, man. So like the jokes they have a game six tonight at 7 o'clock in Ottawa. But if they go back from Ottawa and go to Toronto, right, and they lose to Toronto in Game 7 when they were up 3-1, like what do you expect?
All right.
Like, there's nothing to say about that franchise that I can't. It just you just feel bad for the fan base the amount of Game 7s that they lost in the span of like a decade.
Get so excited, then for nothing.
Exactly. It's like how the Red Sox, if the Red Sox lose Game 7 to the Yankees all the time in the ALCS, right? You
All
know,
right.
it's just like,
Then more the Astros.
yeah. But then again, you've had a World Series unlike the Toronto has in your lifetime.
All right.
Yeah, right. Toronto has not been capable of winning a Stanley Cup anytime soon. They've just the running gag has been how many Game 7s they lost. So as I say, the NHL playoffs have been good. Um, I've watched the little NBA playoffs as well, which have been good. They've been good. I just prefer hockey playoffs better. But
All right.
the Warriors they're leading. The when it comes to the NBA, there's a lot of decent sized series. There's a lot of 3-2 series, and then there's also like a lot of 4-0 series. Teams that are already
So,
in the first round, already in the second round, they're just waiting. They're probably waiting Maui, just like we got a week off because we need to wait for all these people to do stuff. But Warriors could not close it out last night. They were up 3-1.
oh, right.
They got blown out.
Oh my God,
Well,
huh?
they didn't get blown out, but I stopped watching at halftime because they were down by 20 points at halftime. They end up losing by like, or they were down by like 20 or 25 points at halftime. So I sort of kind of just flipped it off and I watched it. I low key watched Disney Plus instead because I was like, yeah, I can't watch this beat down. But next thing I know, they didn't lose by 20. They lost by 15. 131 to 116 against the Rockets, but like um and I'm gonna be honest, I did not watch that Timberwolves Lakers game even though the Timberwolves won last night. I had
Oh,
no
really?
I had for some reason, and Minnesota won. Minnesota won 4-1.
All right.
I wake up on social media this morning, right? Of like, oh, Lakers are trash. What the heck are the Lakers doing? I'm like, Lakers are not, I don't think the Lakers are that good of a team outside LeBron, and LeBron's 38 years old or whatever he is. He's got to be approaching almost 40 now,
All
right?
right. He's
Like there's a point in time where you got to be thinking like, I don't think there's a good supporting cast around him. Like, yeah, you traded for Luca, right? But you were you were I feel like even though you were third in the West and you lost to the sixth seed in 5 games, if you were telling me like who was the 3 seed and who was the 6 seed in that series, I would have thought the Timberwolves were the 3 seed. That's how
right.
bad the Lakers looked in that series. Like, yeah, some of the games were competitive. There was a lot of competitive games, and I get it. Anthony Edwards is a monster. The point guard for the is a monster in itself, right? But at the same time, it's like I don't feel bad for Lakers fans. I'm sorry. I wish I did.
Yeah.
But like knowing your franchise and knowing your history, I just don't feel bad for you. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry for all the Laker fans that are watching. It's just more of like you do all this, you trade for Luca, you make this a big giant deal just to get lose in the first round in 5 games to the 6 seed.
All right. And that's the thing too, right? It's like it can't be just Luca, it can't just be LeBron as much as LeBron's gone downhill, but it can't just be, a two-man show.
I just don't believe that they had this. I think they were the 3 seed because Luca and LeBron took them to the 3 seed. But when it came to the playoffs, they had no one to step up on the bench.
Mm,
Trade away AD in the season to get Luca, right? So you have no center. You have no, perimeter forces to get the rebounds, right?
all
They have
right.
other guys that get the rebounds, but they probably got I don't know the numbers on the top of my head, but I can guarantee they probably got re outbounded by crazy in that series, right? They got rebounded.
For sure.
I got out rebounded because they didn't have a center. And I'm sure they have a decent center, but nothing compared to Anthony Davis.
Right.
right? So it's like it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you wanted the point guard, you wanted the playmaker, and I get it. But that's kind of why I was like, I didn't understand that trade. Like I understood it, but like it's like one of those things where it's like, why the Mavs do it and why do the Lakers do it? Because I I kind of didn't see that Luca would have gotten over them the Hun. I thought the bench was just too bad, was not good enough for them to make a deep playoff run.
Mm,
Like, there's teams where you can have like a good regular season, get away with like, you know, get two superstars to have like 45, 49 wins, right? But like that doesn't mean that like you're gonna be equivalent of that to the playoffs. And that kind of showed like, you know, I think I think the Wolves honestly were able to do it because they had a better bench. I think the Wolves just had a better bench than the Lakers. And
right.
that's what it comes down to is 7 game series when it comes to especially when it comes to basketball, is you need to figure out because your 5, 6 guys are not going to be playing all night long, and especially in a 7 game series with
Right.
one day of rest in between, maybe two, depending on if you travel. But if they're both home games, then it's one day of rest.
Mm.
What are you thinking about all these playoff games? Have you watched any of this?
Yeah. So my Celtics beat Orlando. So we're one of the teams like you said that we're kind of waiting around, seeing what happens. And then um yeah, no, and especially with to that point right about Luca, like I know Dallas was the fan base was exploding, like pure
I
rage, like
imagine.
what just freaking happened.
Yeah.
And then like everybody started kind of blaming it on Mark Cuban because everybody felt like Mark Cuban had something to do with it, once he was starting to exit as well. But he's like, I'm not in control of the team anymore. He's like, I basically have no more say. So he's like, I can't be the fault of this really.
Yeah, I think he still owns it, but he sort of has a hands-off approach now. Now that he's
Right.
older, right? Because he was like when he first bought the team, he was the young guy, very energetic and very like, love him or hate him guy, right? Because he was young and flamboyant.
Right.
But now that he gotten older, he's like, okay, I understand this. I got other endeavors I need to do. I got other companies I need to run. I can be the hands-off approach. And now it's like now he gets the blame when he's older because he did it, but like, bro, he's hands off. There's a reason why he's the owner. He's not the GM.
Right.
Right? Someone else is making those trades. It's like if I had enough money, if I had enough money in the world, right? It's like if I bought the Warriors or I bought the Sixers, right? And I was like, you know, these guys traded away Embiid or traded away Steph Curry. I'm like, I was not part of it. I was sitting in my home in Pennsylvania, North Carolina, wherever I'm living, and I'm just sort of just owning the team and enjoying my life. Meanwhile, next thing I know, I hear on the news that you know, Embiid gets traded or Steph Curry gets traded, right? Like I can guarantee you that probably Mark was not part of that discussion at all about
Right.
that trade scenario. He probably was notified of it after it happened, like everyone else, because of it's his team, sort of still. And but at the same time, it's not like he had the same involvement as he did 10, 15 years ago when he was younger and he had all the energy in the world to do all that type of stuff, right?
Mm.
Anyway, that's the question, right? That's what makes it hard. Who gets the blame when everything goes to that's the age-old
No,
question when it comes to work, business, sports, and the whole world. Who gets blamed, right or wrong? And if people are blaming, Mark for this Cuban for this issue right now, then he's getting the blame for the wrong reasons because it almost feels like he has a hands-off approach right now, especially what he
right.
did 10 years ago especially when like when Dirk, no, Dirk and Jason Terry were on the team. Yeah, he had a hands-on approach, but now that he's older, he's like, I got other stuff and other businesses I need to run, right?
Okay, and that's gonna be interesting to see the for the Celtics with this new ownership group coming in. Um, I think my guy Wick Gruisback will be I think in the more of like a governor role for the next few more years. But especially after that, like, is the guy actually going to be want to be involved, or is he going to be like, okay, y'all just keep running the way you've run? Which I think the Celtics have been looking good in the last several years.
That's good.
Uh, so I think, as long as they kind of keep the rocking the way they are, they don't, I have no expectations of them winning the championships this year. Would it be great? Yeah, but um, if they don't, if they make a run and they don't make it, that's fine. Especially since they obviously won last year too. But the fact that they made the playoffs, so much over the last handful of years, that's fine with me. As long
Yeah,
as they're contending.
couple finals. You had a couple finals appearances. Did you win one of the finals yet?
Yes, we won it last year finally. Yeah, we need that big.
Yeah, that's right. You guys won it last year. See, so it's like I get it, yeah. And well, as I say, Warriors are looking good in that Rockets series, man. 3-1. Everyone was like, "Oh, the Warriors are getting too old. Warriors are not knowing what they're doing." I'm like, dude, Curry could put up 40 on you, put 40 on you and single-handedly win the series. And that's
All
what
right.
like has happened. It feels like Curry has just taken over with a decent supporting cast and just I'm not saying the series is over because it's 3-1, right? So obviously, you know, the two seed Rockets can come back because they're young and talented, but like they don't have the playoff experience at all because of how young they are. I think that's the issue that they've ran into,
Mm. All
right?
right.
So that's
Heck yeah.
so as I say, there's a lot of good series. That's what I'm saying. It's like all this. I have a feeling, it sometimes feels like the NFL series or the NHL series have been more entertaining than the NBA series by a long shot.
All right.
Like I've watched both, and it's like it's one of those things where it's like I've tried to watch some of the NBA series outside the Wolves series. The Wolves series has been good because all the games were kind of close, even though it's 3-1. Like with the Lakers series, right? All the games were somewhat close until like the last 5 minutes. But like that series has been good, but like I'm telling you, like if we're talking about like quality and the amount of series that are involved, it feels like the NHL series have been better quality and more entertaining than the NBA series have been no, yeah, at all.
All right.
I
That's something
feel
we need right now too. A little more excitement, a little
exactly.
more pep in the step in the athletics world.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so and then we have I think we got what we got the All-Star break almost approaching in a couple months for
Mm.
MLB. It's hard to believe that we are about a month month or so, maybe a month and a half away from the All-Star break.
All right. So that's coming up. I'm sure the if the voting hasn't started already, it's going to be starting up here soon. Um, and then of course the draft just happened for the NFL.
Yeah,
Um, and so that'll be exciting to see how that shapes up over the summer. Of
yeah.
course,
A
into
couple of
into
teams,
the season.
couple of teams have
Yeah,
a draft.
yeah. So, um, how'd your uh, how'd your Raiders shape up?
A plus draft. A
Heck
plus
yeah.
draft. We got the best player in the entire draft at 7 as a running back, and we got two quarterbacks late in the draft that would fill out the quarterback room, right?
Right.
One of them's gonna be quarterback, and the other one's a quarterback that's we're gonna convert to wide receiver and basically make him like Julian Edelman. You know how Julian Edelman was a quarterback in
Mm,
college, right? So
that'd
he's
be
a
sweet.
quarterback in college. So I think the idea is, taking that aspect and switching this guy from South Dakota, North Dakota State, and take him and convert him to wide receiver.
Yeah. And,
We
oh,
we
how
draft
how cool would that be?
we drafted both quarterbacks late in the draft who were the FCS were in the playing FCS championship game this past year. So everyone
Oh,
knows what the FCS level is of football. We
all
drafted
right.
both starting quarterbacks in the sixth round on that in that championship game. So obviously, someone went down for exclusively that game and watched and see how we can use these players.
All
And,
right.
and they got enough wide receivers. they got this nice wide receiver out of Tennessee. Honestly, I'm expecting big things out of him. I think he's gonna be one of those guys he's gonna be a deep threat. He's gonna be what Henry Ruggs was supposed to be, but with less m- accidents and jail time. And I think I saw it on social media. I think he was oh, and speaking of Henry Ruggs, did you see that online? I think he did an appeal.
Oh, really?
I think he did an appeal or something like that. Of everyone knows, Raiders old wide receiver Henry Ruggs appeal. Yeah, I think he appealed his sentence because I think his like parole is up or something like that.
Hmm.
So everyone knows who Josh Jacobs is. So he was like, they were probably one or two draft classes apart. Both went to Alabama, right? So Josh Jacobs did an interview today saying he's been talking to Henry Ruggs while he was in jail. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've been training for 4 or 5 years. I'm ready for my NFL comeback at 28 when he gets out." I'm like, dude, he's still in his 20s. He can like he might not be the player he was expecting to be, but he can be a productive player if the NFL allows him in. So I'm
All
kind of
right.
interested to see how that all unfolds once he gets out of jail. Um, yeah. So 14 hours ago, yeah, I was watching this. Like, it just came across my feed yesterday. So 14 hours ago, Henry Ruggs is training in prison, hopes getting a second chance in the NFL, according to Josh Jacobs.
Hmm.
I, he's
Interesting.
He said in an interview, I still talk to Henry. Henry still calls me. Jacob said, I still quote, still hope hit, still help him out. We're still connected. I know his whole family. He's from Alabama. He played with me at Bama, his mama, and then taught me how to bowl. Keeping up with him and hearing him talk. He's training. And they let him train and things like that. So I'm like, when you come out, man. So it's sounds like they're letting him train when he's in jail. So like instead of like how like prisons have like recess time,
All right.
you know how like you have courtyard time or whatever you have in jail.
Yeah.
Like you've seen enough, you know enough what I'm talking about.
All right.
So instead of interaction time, he has physical specimen, training, NFL training time for those 15, 30, 40 minutes a day for an hour for those hours a day. Where he's like, so like I think so his parole's coming up. So if he gets out and he gets parole and he gets his appeal in, he'll be on the market, man. Someone will be able to take a chance on him if he wants to sign him for for whatever is left in the tank of him. And he's only I think 27, 28. So like he's still decently young where he could do make that happen. So that came across my social media yesterday and it got my eyes open because I got kind of got intrigued. I
Heck
was
yeah.
like, I'll be damned. What happens after that happen?
All right.
And we all know why he got into jail because of drunk drunk car case that ended up running over someone.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So that's why he goes in jail. But yeah. So that's kind of what interesting happened across my feed yesterday. Um, so
Heck
I'm trying
yeah.
to see how that all works out. Anything else has popped? Anything else had popped up on your feed? Anything about
Um, just stuff about
any good NFL
Rory.
signings the Patriots had?
What's the one guy's
Oh,
name?
Rory, what's Rory
He's
up to?
the one big thing has been Rory winning the Masters a couple weeks ago. That's still been a big thing. And then finally making his big run and finally getting his first Masters win. And then What's the guy's name that the Patriots just signed? He's been big lately too. He's supposed to be on the offensive line. Um,
Oh yeah, the Patriots. Oh yeah, the Patriots signed him. The draft him.
yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw the interview. I saw the interview last Thursday. He was like, "Dude, I'm gonna protect my quarterback with all my life."
Right,
And I'm like,
all right.
"Dude, that's the guy I want. That's the guy I would want to protect my quarterback. A guy who's like gonna be like ready to die for his quarterback." And he looked so serious. He was ready to die for his quarterback.
Right. I
Whoever's gonna
think
be the
it's
quarterback for Drake May, he's gonna die for Drake May.
right. So I just looked up the name
How does
again.
that
This
make you feel?
it was Will Campbell,
Yeah,
and
Will
he's
Campbell's gonna die for Drake May, the tackle out of
right,
LSU.
right, and he's a big dude too. He's gonna. I think he's gonna do well. So I think he's definitely ready to rock and roll. And that's been something that's been big for me lately was just all the stuff around him. So that'll be huge. So now,
Yeah,
obviously, I'm
exactly.
hoping
Yeah, so
that.
I'm kind of intrigued to see how that all turned out.
All right. So now, obviously, that's the hope of okay, maybe this is a much better position now than we've been in the last couple of years.
Exactly. I tell you, man, everyone's like, "Oh, there's nothing to do during the summer, man." No, there's stuff to watch during the summer. There's baseball, and then there's the end of the NHL playoffs because they are going till June. My
All
mom keeps
right.
making jokes like, "How is this? How are they still playing hockey in June?" And I'm like. I tried to tell her, I'm like, what do you want me to say? They're playing hockey in June, so it's gonna be a next fun couple of months, man. I'm gonna be excited. I'm gonna be watching these playoffs and figuring out how this all turns out. And the funny thing is, there's no injuries right now to talk about, like no major injuries that I know of, which is kind of a first,
Mm-mm.
right?
Heck yeah.
I don't know if you heard of any major injuries, but like everyone
No.
seems right. So it's kind of like of course we're not hoping for anyone to get injured, right? But it gives us more to talk about.
The right. The whole stirring of the pot.
Oh yeah, exactly. And yeah, as I say, Oklahoma's looking good next year. They just got a stellar running back a couple weeks ago in Jay Knott.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yep. The former Cal Bear, sadly. Everyone wants to leave. Everyone wants to do. The only happiness I can get as a Cal fan, a Cal football fan anymore, is the fact that we got like a big giant quarterback recruit a couple years ago that last year that
Mm.
will hopefully pan out and hopefully won't transfer like everyone else.
All right. Of course,
I
that's always
digress.
the biggest risk.
I need some decompression right there, but like this transfer portal is crazy. Never in my wildest worlds did I think that it was gonna be like this ever. When the transfer portal came out, I was so happy and I was delayed for all the athletes until it starts affecting my team,
All right. That's what I've been feeling
right?
but with
Like,
HBU right now.
I'm like, yeah, let them get their bag, let them get their bag, let them make all the money until it starts affecting the Cal Bears, which I didn't think it was ever going to be because I didn't see us ever as good. So it's been
That's where
good,
HBU's
and
at with the basketball, the darn basketball team. Because yeah, that's what HBU is doing,
exactly,
right? It's like all the big players that we needed are leaving. And I think HPU's in the position where, yeah, these guys are good for HPU, but they're wanting to go to these bigger schools where they're probably not going to be that good. And they're probably going to be on the bench. And then they're probably going to realize, oh my God, what did I just do? But yeah, that's what they're doing now.
exactly.
It's like you said, they're just chasing. They're wanting something bigger and more change in the
You
back
know,
pocket.
some some of the high point guys, right? Before they went to the tournament. This is the year before they went to the tournament this past year, right? Some of these small schools are losing out because they got, um, I think High Point lost a guy to Rhode Island
Mm,
University, right? They lost Jaden House to University of Rhode Island. Um, They lost someone to University of Pittsburgh. University of Pittsburgh. That's a big
Go
school.
figure, right?
Well, that's no, it's more of like the aspect of how what like, you know, I think the transfer portal is good for athletics as a whole, but until it starts impacting like all these small schools, right? Because if you think about it, it feels like a feeding system, like a minor league system for all these bigger schools, right? To just start plucking these guys at these mid majors, and it's kind of hurt the aspect. Everyone's like has a hurt the aspect of Cinderella, and I'm like, I feel like it kind of has. Like not all
Mm,
right. We got McNeese this year, which was fun to watch for a couple games, but
all
like
right.
the idea that we would see a VCU, when VCU made that Final Four run in 2011,
All right.
right? I don't think that's gonna happen in a while. Loyola
Mm.
Chicago going to the Final Four when that happened. It feels like that's gonna be not happening as much because of all these times, whenever you have the talent, right? The big schools will just give them an NIL paycheck, right? And start plucking from all these schools, right? Like a farm system in baseball, essentially.
Mm.
That's what it is. That's what NIL is right now. It's a farm system where you'll have major league, quote unquote, major league teams being the ACC, the Big Ten, the SEC teams, and the minor league teams, quote unquote, still being Division One teams, by the way, and being High Point, McNeese, BCU, St. Joe's, right? It's affecting, I think, everybody. I think so.
All
I think
right.
I think it's a bigger deal, I think, than I sure thought it was going to be, and it's now opening the floodgates for the transfer portal to go crazy. And it's not even NIL; it's more the aspect of you combine transfer portal with NIL, and that's what you get.
Okay.
And
So we got about 30 seconds.
I think that would wrap. I think that sort of wraps it up. There's sort of we talked about everything from NFL incarcerations, NFL comebacks, NHL, NBA, MLB, college basketball, college football. So I think that would sum us on another sports day when it pertains to foul ball podcast.
Crazy times out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Heck yeah. And then end scene.